You've now seen the attack on the fast break and how it can flow into any look. Like flowing down into a 5-out offense. See the ball gets swung here without hitting the floor. That's really good basketball. 3 points. Or even a 4-out. We get the ball up the floor and it doesn't even hit the floor. All passing. Great basketball. 4-out look we flow into. Layup. And here we're going to cut down into a 3-out look on the break. Scoring within 8 seconds. So you can see the attack offense flows into any look really fast. Now I'm going to show you how it seamlessly flows into the half court. First, what are some of the advantages of the attack offense? It's flexible. We can get into any look with any player positioning that we want. Here a guard or a wing runs down in the post, takes advantage of that matchup. Nice reverse layup there. Now same player, not a post player, same player goes into the post. Now watch what happens on the skip. She'll actually come out and now she's going to drive, so utilizing all her strengths as a player. Now you want to talk about scoring in a 3-out? Okay, so we got this player down in the post, scores in a 3-out. How about a 4-out? Maybe we'll score out of a 4-out. Now we're going to drive off the 4-out. Okay, all right. How about that player now hits a 3 out of a 5-out look? So you can see it works with any player at any time and any positioning. It's unpredictable. There's no patterns. It's not scoutable. Even I don't know what our players are going to do all the time because they're reading the defense and they're making plays off of what the defense is giving them. So we teach players how to play and then let them go play. There's a drag screen to start this and then a flip. Watch how many different actions that we get. None of this is scripted at all. This is all players just reading and feeling the game. Ball screen, throw back into the post. Instead of going to work in the post, they kick it across. We're going to get some more drive action out of this. And it's going to finish up with a drive and a kickback to a wide open 3. And it's adaptable. The offense fits any player. That's why some people assume it's a dribble drive offense. That's why some people assume it's a ball screen. That's why some people assume it's a post offense. That's why some people assume we just shoot threes. It's because it can adapt to any player at any time. Got an All-American in the post? Sure. Feed her the ball. Let her do her thing. How about got a player of the year who can't be stopped on the drive? What do we do here? Let them do their thing. What if we got a point guard that just likes to space and hit threes? Can this attack offense still work with that? Absolutely. And that's what makes the attack offense so special. You've heard people talk about you should have a system that fits the players, and other people say you need to have players that fit your system. Well, with the attack offense fits any player. So the player can be who they are inside of what we do, and they can do whatever they feel comfortable doing, and the attack offense highlights whatever they're comfortable doing, what they're confident doing, what they're strong at doing, and that's what makes the offense so special and so effective. Before we get into the concepts of the attack offense in the half court, let's talk about some major teaching points. First, we got to think attack or score on the catch. So the very first thing we got to do on a catch is we got to get our eyes to the rim, because we're either going to attack closeouts, and attacking closeouts could mean driving a closeout. It could be a short closeout or we're shooting a 3, but we're thinking attack or score, and the way that we do that is eyes to the rim. The other thing that eyes to the rim does is it lets us see cutters or the post that's wide open. The second important teaching point is we're going to attack mismatches. Whether that's a physical mismatch or a talent mismatch, we're going to attack any mismatch that we see. So you have to know who's guarding you and who's guarding your teammates. That's a Rick Majerus thing from his motion offense. And I love that phrase, and I continue to use that phrase. Know who's guarding you and know who's guarding your teammates. Here off a ball screen action, we're going to get a switch. So now we're going to drive to 5 because that's one of our rules. And we're going to actually finish against the mouse in the house with the post player. This mismatch is just simply, we got the best player in the league. They can't stop a one-on-one on the drive, so just clear space, let them go to work. And then a mismatch could be a talent mismatch too, where we're in the post, maybe a guard, but we know we got the advantage. And then anytime that we can get in a 2-man game, we're going to get in a 2-man game. Now, why is a 2-man game so important? Whenever you get in a 2-man game on one side of the floor, that means the rest of the defense is on this side of the floor. So you're creating great spacing with a two-man game. So anytime that you've identified, we teach players anytime that they've identified a two-man game, it's okay to go right into the two-man game and forget everything else at that point, because we're not going to get a better look than over half the defense on the other side of the floor. Notice how the whole side of the floor clears out. Two-man game gives a post a lot of room to make their move and score. We can get to a two-man game different ways. It's an alley screen and then a back cut. Just two guys working together with a whole open side of the floor. And then we can even call the two-man game. And what we do on the opposite side is we just sit and wait to shoot the basketball. Let the two-man game do its work. We clear space, make the three. Another major teaching point for me is I teach action is greater than the read. Now, if you know reads, it obviously makes the game so much easier. But what if you don't know the read? What if you mess up the read? Then what do you do? And then you'll see a lot of people, when they mess up a play, I don't run plays, but when they mess up a play, the players just kind of stop in the action because they don't know what to do. So I want the mentality, obviously, of always being on the attack. And the only way that you can always be on the attack is if you understand no matter what the action you did, if you make the wrong read, you can always fix that read. So we're way more concerned about running the action than we are about being perfect about it or making the right read. Now, obviously, we teach all those things because we want the game to be easier for our players. But if they don't, we don't want them stopping either. We want them continuing. Basically, one of my favorite expressions, fail forward fast. We want them to fail forward fast. Here we set a stagger in the corner. It's supposed to be one high, one low off the screen. Instead, they both just run across the floor, but we fix it with a two-man game and get an and one. So you can fix anything. Here, we're actually going to have 5 players not spaced properly on the same side of the floor, and we're going to end up fixing it anyway. So as long as the players don't panic and know they can fix anything, they can fix anything. And on an offensive rebound, there's only 2 things that we do. It's either a putback or a kickback for a dagger 3. Here, our post player gets the rebound, gets it back up on the rim as quick as possible. This time we're going to get the rebound. We're going to get a kickback for a dagger 3, and watch the rebounder as this 3's being shot. He knows it's going in. Because whenever there's a rebound, that is the time when the defense a lot of times is in their most chaotic state. And we want to attack them when they're chaotic, and maybe they're not matched up properly. Maybe they're not in the right positions properly. And we want to get the ball back on the rim as quick as possible, because even if we miss that shot, we might get even more rebounds till we finally put the ball in the basket. The first major concept of the attack offense in the half court is the 5 lanes of spacing. We talked about that in the fast break, how we get it out and go in the fast break. And those 5 lanes will keep us spaced properly in the half court also. As long as those 5 lanes are filled, you will always be properly spaced. And spacing is offense. So you're always going to be in a good spot offensively if you use the 5 lanes of spacing. And allow you to flow into any kind of offense that you want. 5 out, 4 out, 3 out. It fits whatever that you want to do as long as you do the 5 lanes of spacing. Okay, again, from the fast break video, these green things are cones on my homemade board, and that separates us into the 5 lanes of offense. 5 out look, right? And again, you can run people down, you can run them foul line extend, whatever you want to do, whatever the height of your offense you want to have, the spacing of your offense you want to have. But as long as these 5 lanes are filled, then it doesn't matter. Then you're properly spaced and you're going to have good offense. And obviously this is really easy to change into a 3 out look. It's still 5 lanes. You can see they're all filled. Now, where it might get a little bit confusing is the 4 out look, but here's what we do with the 4 out look. With the 4 out look, we make sure we still got the spacing. Now, the inside lane, we'll talk about it going out into a trapezoid, basically the post area. So that way it's still spaced. You're still getting 15 to 18 foot of spacing at each spot. And really that's what you're looking for anyways. And you're going to see even in the videos, we're not perfect in our exact spacing all the time in terms of exact setups, but we are spaced 15 to 18 foot apart. And that's what's going to make for good offense. Go back to the beginning of this video talking about any look, any player positioning. Can a 5 out flow into something else? Absolutely it can. We start off here more of a 5 out look with cutters, and then that post player is going to run down, and now we're in a 4 out look. And so now we're going to still run our actions, but now we're more in a 4 out look, and we get a great backdoor cut and pass for an easy layup. In this example, we're going to run into a 3-out look. We got a point guard that runs down into a 3-out look. She ends up getting the layup on the opposite side. So the offense is ever evolving, ever changing. And again, at the end of the day, as long as your spacing's 15 to 18 foot and you utilize the idea of these 5 lanes of spacing, you're always going to have good offense. The second major concept of the attack offense in the half court is that the offense flows from the pocket. And I got this from Sean Miller, and it's more of a football concept. When you think about where the offense comes from a football team, it always originates with the quarterback, because the ball's got to go to the quarterback first. And a lot of times the offense comes out of that pocket. They make those throws from the pocket. They hand off in the pocket. So basketball, same thing. Our offense is going to flow out of the pocket. And the pocket contains what we call action spots. We just call them A spots because action spots, a little bit longer for someone like myself. So we just call them A spots. The A spots create the action of the offense. So when you're in an A spot as a player and you pass the ball, you cannot stand after that. Otherwise, you completely shut down our offense. You have to pass the ball and then do some kind of action. You can cut, you can away screen, or you can ball screen, but you cannot stand. So let me show you how this pocket works. Let's say we're in a 5-out look. Well, in a 5-out look, most of the time we're going to have 3 action spots. If we're properly spaced and it's a regular 5-out look, we're going to have 3 action spots, which means if you're a player in one of these 3 spots, if you pass the ball, you have to move. So if the ball's at the top and they pass the ball, then this person does, depending on who they are, right? If it's a point guard, most of the time they're going to cut through and go opposite is what they're going to do. If it's somebody that can screen or ball screen, maybe the ball screen, they go chase it. I'm not a huge fan of chasing the ball screen, but that's a possibility because it looks like a drag screen up top. Or they can away screen, okay? But either way, they're creating action in this offense. One of the hardest things to teach players, especially like I coach AAU now, a lot of point guards are used to handling the ball all the time. So they'll pass the ball in AAU and then they'll stand right here because they're used to going to get it back. They always want to have the basketball in their hands. So it's tough. To me, this is the toughest part about teaching my offense to AAU people, is getting these point guards to cut through and start in the offense. And here's why, if you're not in the pocket, you don't move. Let's say the corner passes it out to this wing and they go to cut. Where are they going right now? They can't go anywhere. They would literally just end up back where they came from. That's why it's okay if you're not in the pocket, you can just stand, read, wait for the offense to come to you. This is where the offense is going to come from. Again, if it's a 4-out look, this is where it's going to come from. Because again, if this is the person, if this wing throws the ball here and they cut, where are they going? They're going to come back out the same side. Now, could they cut and end up out here, and then we have a 1-on-1 and an ISO and those kind of things? Absolutely. You can always fix things. So just, again, I talk all the time, 15 to 18 foot spacing, that's what matters more than anything else. However, if we're doing our offense right, this player is not going to move on the pass out because they're not in the pocket. The offense is going to flow from the pocket. And for us, with a 3-out look, there's really only one action spot technically, and that's why it's important that we do a lot of actions. And what I mean by that is this: pass the ball, we got to cut so we can get that movement, or we got to screen away so we can get that movement. Okay, but we always got to make sure we get movement. Does that mean that these two can't work together? No. Back screen can go. Guess what? We're still in our offense. We're still 5 lanes of space. But understand that in that action spot, that spot has to move. These spots have the option of moving, absolutely. But this spot, when they pass the ball, either way, they have to move. In a perfect world, if we were perfectly aligned in our offense and spaced in our offense, that's what the pocket would look like in a 5-out, 4-out, and 3-out look. But like I said, all the action comes from the pocket. And then what happens is when people leave the pocket, so for example, if one passes and cuts, then others would raise and fill the offense. So what you want to do is the offense comes out of the pocket, and then we raise and fill to the pocket for balance and reversal. And so the flow of our offense always comes out of the pocket and then basically down through the basket and then out. and then we'll raise and fill from there. So we always have balance and we always have reversal options. Now I'm going to show you some videos so you can see that the attack offense works with any look, with any action, and with any type of player, because the attack offense is flexible, it's unpredictable, and it's adaptable. 5 out, and we just flow in our offense. None of this is scripted. All this is players understanding the concepts of our offense, and this actually flows into a 4 out look where we get a layup in the post. Driving is what most people think of with a 5 out, and sure, if you got spacing like this, we'll absolutely drive to the hole on you. Can you post up out of a 5 out? Absolutely you can. Watch the bottom corner, sees a post up opportunity. Now that player on the baseline realizes it, goes back to the same side because they want to give the post opportunity and room to work. Can you ball screen out of a 5 out? Absolutely. Watch how we ball screen. Our concept is one high, one low. We get a throwback, then into the post. Let the post go to work with all that space. Little dribble handoff pitch, little ghost screen or a slip, whatever you want to call it, creates space for the drive. And this is just a simple cut from a post player that occupies the help and gives our shooter just enough time to get off their 3 ball. And here's an away screen, actually a stagger screen that basically just occupies the defense so our best driver can go right by people and get a layup. Here's some good flow with a 4 out look. It's actually a high post 4 out look because we're trying to draw them out a little bit. This is an NCAA tournament game, the very first bucket in this school's history in NCAA tournament history. 4 out, can you drive out of a 4 out? Absolutely can. We get a kickback here. We get a second driver, easy layup, and 1. And obviously you can post up out of a 4 out look, especially when you have a matchup you want. ISO it, easy bucket. Here we're going to come down and ball screen. We're actually going to flip, and then we're going to refuse the ball screen and throw it right back where it came from for an open 3. Next action is a little dribble handoff pitch, and we're going downhill off that dribble handoff pitch, layup. And then a simple cut. There's 2 cutters. We call that slice action. Open up space for a jump shot. And watch this away screen. The guard up top comes down across for the post player. Nice little screen, opens them up enough to make his play and score. We're going to flow from a 4 out look down into a 3 out look. You can see the top post player goes into almost like a 1-3-1 look before it goes to a 3 out. Notice all the actions, all unscripted. Little rub ball screen for a layup. In this look, we're going to flow down into a 3 out look, and it's our drive action that'll open things up as we kick it back where it came from, then down into the post for an easy layup. Can you post up in a 3 out? Absolutely. It's more of a power offense. Most of the time, that's what people are looking for out of this. So we can definitely post up and score out of the post. Set a ball screen here out of the 3 out look. We're going to kick it back. Go a little 2-man game with an alley screen. Throw it into the post. Let them do their work. And now again, a cut. Not always going to be the score, but they open up space for the driver there. It opens up an easy dish for a layup. This away screen action is basically 2 pin downs from the wing down to the post. Post kicks out. Open 3. If you like what you saw here about us flowing seamlessly into a half court into any look, please give us a like, hit that thumbs up like button, subscribe to us so that way you get any of our updates. We're going to continue with this. The very next video is going to be about ball screen action. So I'll show you how the ball screen action works in our offense. Tom Izzo once said ball screens are the hardest thing to defend. So that's the first action that I'm going to start with. Until then, keep attacking.